Hello everyone. This is Friday night, the 16th of May, as you're watching this. I'm actually not live tonight. I've pre-recorded this ahead of time as I'm currently overseas. But I wanted to have videos regularly ready for you at the same times that you normally would expect to see them. So this is our Friday night, which is sketch night. And so I'm going to be doing a sketch for you today. And I'm using sketches out of our new catalogue on page 24. So if you have your new catalogue, you might want to turn to that page. I can't see your comments tonight, so I can't actually say hello and name you all as you pop into the comments. But I hope that you're all enjoying this video and chatting to each other as you would normally every other Friday night. And next Friday night, I'll be back with you live. So this is actually the last weekend that I'm away. It's gone fast. Even though I'm pre-recording this ahead of time, I've been surprised when I was sort of recording on my videos, just like it's not very long that I'm away. It's crazy, right? So I'll be back middle of next week, and there will be a Technique Tuesday, but Technique Tuesday will probably, I thought I would go through my swaps from the trip and take you through those, and we'll look at the different techniques that people have used on their swaps. So that's what I thought we might do next Tuesday for Technique Tuesday. I'm likely to still be jet lagged. So that would be a good, easy thing for me to do, and we'll create something as well. Okay, so look forward to that next Tuesday. All right, so let's switch over to the desk and I'll get started. We are now into the new catalogue. This is our annual, as it says, annual catalogue, and it goes from it started this month on the 6th of May, and it goes all the way through to the end of April next year. In fact, if you look on the very back, it actually gives you the exact date. So it goes through until the 4th of May, actually. So that means next year, the 5th of May will be the first day of the new catalogue in 2026. But we don't want to talk about that yet because this one's just started, and I'm not ready to talk about the next one yet. But this is, I'm really enjoying this catalogue. The previous one, I loved it too, but there was some things in there that people had issues with. There was a few products that didn't have, they weren't well shown. For example, Wink of Stella was in there, but there was no code and there was no price, things like that. So this one, they fixed all of that kind of stuff, and they've put things together. So in the last catalogue, the designer series papers were spread out through the catalogue. Now they're all listed together on a couple of pages. So you'll see if you're turning to the back of the catalogue here, here's all of our, this is all of our designer series papers in one place. Okay, so that's really, really handy. Mind you, there is more than what's just in here. There are other papers. In fact, one of them I'm going to show to you tonight. There are other papers and other things that that are not in the catalogue that are in the online store. So this is not a comprehensive listing. Once upon a time, everything we had was in the annual catalogue. That's not the case anymore. Now we have some products online in the store and not in the catalogue, and we have some products that are in the annual catalogue only. Well, no, annual catalogue, and they're in the online store. So the online store is the one-stop shop where everything is listed. Okay, so if you want to see everything we have, go to the online store. The details will be below this YouTube video if you're watching on YouTube. And while I think of it, please subscribe to the channel here. That's more and more people can watch me and find me, the more people that we have subscribed. So that's really a big part of what I do here, is I'm always inviting people to subscribe to the channel so you get notified when I go live, all of that kind of stuff. All right, so it's a really handy thing. But let's turn to page 24. And these are the sketches that are shown. Okay, now last Friday night, we did this one here. Some of you might remember, I've got the card still sitting here next to me. Okay, this is the card, and you might see I've actually added a couple of little a flower and a leaf to kind of finish it off. It just didn't look quite finished to me, so I added that after the video. But that was this one here. All right, so gives you a bit of an idea of how I put that together. Now we're doing this one. Okay, now they've got this one shown as a tag. I'm going to be making it as a card, so I'm still going to use some of the same elements. Please understand that when you see a sketch, the sketch is not a rule that you have to follow. You can deviate away from it. It might just be a starting place for you. It's meant to inspire you and give you ideas, even if you don't follow it exactly. It's just meant to be a starting place. So I'm going to be doing this one. Let's bring it up a little closer. Can you see it here? So I've got the tag shape. Now, I don't know that I'm going to worry about a tag shape, but I am going to follow the elements. So it's got a large circle, a medium-sized one a little bit smaller, a couple little tiny ones down the bottom here, and a long, thin sentiment banner. Okay, well, I think it looks like a sentiment banner. So do these have to be circles? No. Okay, like, for example, if I was making a Christmas card, they might be stars, all right? Or I could make them flowers. There are all sorts of things that they could be, okay? So I think that that's kind of a cool thing, that you can just follow it, but you don't have to stick to the same shapes. And today I thought I might stick, instead of circles, I might do some flowers. So I thought for this I would use a new set. Now, this is an online exclusive set, which means it's not in the catalogue, but it is in the online store. Okay, and it's called Impressions of Bloom. It's a stamp set with 17 images in the stamp set, and then a matching die set that cuts out some of these images. And I really like it. It's a good one. I have already played with it a couple of times for some. I did do it in the tutorial bundle that came out at the beginning of this month. The May one, but these can be used by themselves. For example, there's, as you can see here, like you've got the outside that actually would cut out your flower. All right, it goes this way. Yeah, would cut out your flower, and then you've got this like detail one. So if you weren't cutting out the flower, you could just cut out the shape and then do the detail, and just the die alone would give you the shapes that you want to have. For example, this one that I did on the card I just showed you from last week, all right, that one there, that is exactly what I did. I cut the outline and then I cut the center bits, all right? So you can have a bit of fun with that. But we did mostly die cutting with that last week. This week I'm going to do more stamping, okay? So I am using the same set again, but I'm going to go with some different bits and pieces from the set. Okay, so let's move this out of the way for the moment. I'm going to keep the stamp set nice and close. For the background, I'm actually going to use some of the paper, and I haven't decided yet, and I can't ask you tonight because no one's watching live, but the beautiful paper that goes with this is called Floral Impressions, and this paper is gorgeous. Okay, so you've got, you know, your purples, blues, and your green with the leaves there, and on the back of that we've got like green stripes. It's a bit hard to see underneath the light there. And then this one here, which has like a rainbow of flowers. And here we've got Darling Duckling on the back, which is the new yellow in the in colours. There you go. That's a bit more of the same paper. Can you see that? So it's the same one. And I just love the rainbows. I just think it's beautiful. All right, and then this one, that's a bit more of that one there. And then this one has like strawberry slush and pretty in pink and rich raspberry and some garden green leaves. And on the back, it has strawberry slush pattern there. I actually think this one's my favorite. I'm not sure why. This one here, I don't love this pattern as much. I'm sure there's other people who think it's wonderful, but I love what's on the back, okay, which is little, can you see them? I hope you can see it. Little circles in Pool Party. And I really like that. That's a possibility for the background tonight. So I'm going to set that one aside. And then this one here, on the back of that one, we have garden green, like little geometric octagons, I think. Yeah. And we've already looked at that one. We've already looked at that one and that one. We're still coming up to another one. Here we go. This one here has, it's a really pretty flower pattern on the front with rich raspberry, fresh freesia. We've got the Darling Duckling. The blue is Misty Moonlight. And we've just got some beautiful colours in there, okay? And Timid Tiger's in there too. And on the back, we have fresh freesia. So my question to myself, seeing as I can't ask you, is am I going to go with fresh freesia on this front piece? And I'm just looking at that and thinking, it's actually so close, you can't really see this. It would almost look better if I used a darker colour background. And then the other one that I like the look of was this one that actually shows up a bit more. So you've got a little bit more of a difference between the color of the paper and the color of the, so I actually think I'll go with that because of that reason. Okay, so I'm going to grab myself my trimmer, which is under a pile of papers because I just stuck them all on top. And I'm going to cut this. Now I've made this 14.3 by 10. So this needs to be half a centimeter smaller. So it needs to be 13.8. Here we go. By 9.5. So it's half a centimeter smaller on each side. Okay, so let me just come in with that. All right, and then this is going to end up on here. Now, I'm actually wondering whether I want to have the whole thing the same color. I do really like it. I think it's really nice. And I'm looking at my sketch again. And here it is. And thinking, I wonder if I was to use some strips underneath. I could do that. So I've got a couple of choices. I could cut off a little bit here and add a different colored. Then that would actually look really pretty, but it might be too busy. And the other thing I could do is come in here and do like part of it green. Maybe not. I'm just thinking of ways to make this even more interesting than what's on here. I don't have to do this. Okay, I'm going to leave it as it is, only because I'm worried that it may end up being too busy if I put too many layers of interest on. So I'm going to just stick with the sketch and then we'll see. Come on, how'd you come? I can feel that there's some in here, but it's not wanting to play nice. And I've got another one here on the desk. There we go. All right, so let me zip that around. And I'm just keeping it simple. I'm just going to go with the sketch. And, you know, I probably could have done some strips of paper to make it a bit more interesting. But by the time we add all our flowers and bits and pieces on top, I think it's going to be enough. So, and I don't want it to end up too busy. All right, let me get that on there like that. And I've got a piece of white here, and this is where I'm going to do my stamping. So you can see that the flowers here, if I'm going to use flowers instead of circles, I've got big, medium, and small, and then I've got little teeny tiny. But I'm going to start. So I've got big, medium, and small. So we can go with those, and then just see what we want to do after that. So I'm going to put my solid flower on a block. Just going to pop that on D block. And then I've got another D block. I've got lots of D blocks. Another one for the other part of the same flower. All right, so those two go together. Okay, I've just got to make sure I put them on the right way. And then I've got the next two. Now these are smaller, so I'm thinking that these could go on C block probably. I mean, you could put them all on D block, but putting them on a block that's closer in size to the one you want to use is usually your best move. Like if you don't have a lot of extra block around your stamps, you're gonna find it easier to stamp with them. So let me see. Well, actually, I don't seem to have any more C's, but that's okay. B works as well. So I've got a couple more of these, 1 and 2. So I actually have in my collection more than one of each block, only because when I was running classes and things, sometimes I needed several of the same size block to hand to people. Okay. Now I've got to decide what color and what I want to go with. Now I'm going to let myself be inspired by the colors in my paper. And I really like these colors. I think that's really nice. So here we've got Rich Razzleberry and Fresh Freesia. Then we've got Misty Moonlight on this one. And then they've done Rich Razzleberry again for that one, but maybe I'll bring in another color for that. So let's do our big one in the Rich Razzleberry and the Freesia. I think that would be nice. So I'll bring in those two. Rich Razzleberry and Freesia. Oh, sorry, what am I saying? It's not Rich Razzleberry. Rich Razzleberry has long retired. Blackberry Bliss. Why am I having a problem lately with that, saying that color? For some reason, I keep saying Razzleberry instead of Blackberry Bliss. I'm so sorry, you guys. Just ignore me, you know. I don't know what I'm talking about most of the time. All right. So I'm putting down some fresh freesia, and I'm going to have it so that this kind of, there's a like one petal that seems a bit longer than most of the others, and so I'm going to have, there's that one there, so that makes it easier to line it up. Okay, so I'm going to use my Blackberry Bliss and go over the top. Also, it's going to make it easier when we come to, if I know that my I've got one petal out towards the top, it's also going to make it easier for me to die cut, because I'll know which way to put my die around it. All right, so that's how that looks. It's very pretty when you add the two layers together, isn't it? And that's going to look really nice on here. That's going to look lovely. All right, I may come back to these. I'm not sure yet, but let's do our next one. And the next one was the Misty Moonlight, and that's like a different color altogether. I'm just looking in here. They've also got some little blue little pool party ones, so maybe the pool party ones might be really nice, seeing as we've got pool party in our. Now I'm going to actually stamp this on a do I want to stamp it on a scrap? Yes, I do. I'm going to make it lighter than it actually is. I'm just grabbing an extra piece of a scrap of white, because I want to make sure that that I can stamp it off. So I stamp it off quickly because I haven't removed too much ink. And then I'm going to have, once again, I'm putting like a lonely petal that's sticking out by itself up there. And that's, see how much lighter that is than this. Okay. And the reason I've done that is I'm going to put more detail over the top, and I don't want to not be able to see the detail because the first layer is too dark. So, all right, so that one goes this way. And let's see how we go there. All right, that looks really good. Can you see, you can see the detail because we didn't make that background too dark. See that there? Looks good. I like that. All right, and then the last one they've got for this one is Pool Party. And what have they got over the top of the Pool Party? Pool Party has, well, they don't really have anything over the top of it. I'm wondering, maybe I'll just stamp this off and do like we did before. So I'm just going to stamp it off on my scrap here. And then, oh, that's quite light, isn't it? It might be too light. All right, so I held it in place a bit long, I think. So this time I'm just going to only give it a really quick. And I'll do another one, and let's see if we get a darker imprint this time. A little bit darker, because I didn't hold it in place. The longer you hold it, the more ink transfers. Okay, so that's a little tip when you're doing two-step stamping. Think about, if you want to do any stamping off, think about how long you hold the stamp in place. If you do it really quickly, you don't actually transfer as much ink. All right, I'm going to use this one. I'm going to go over the top in the same color like I did with the Misty Moonlight. And I'm deciding which way this should go. I don't think this one matters as much. Oh, hang on, I'm going to do this one. And it is good to have the darker one because, there you go, that's kind of cool. All right, so you can see the detail on that background. And they're kind of interesting colors, aren't they, these colors? So I like them. Let's have a look. Let's bring in our pieces, our die cuts. Sorry, oops, stamps, not die cuts. Linda, what are you doing? All right, I've got to talk to myself because I don't have you guys to talk to me. Okay, so can you see how it's really easy to identify? That's most likely the one that's sticking up by itself. And look at that, it's a perfect fit. Okay, so that's good. And then this one, once again, I'm going to pick out this. This was the first time I pulled this one off. So it's always hard the very first time. And that's going to go this way, like that. There we go. That's perfect too. And then this little guy, this one doesn't matter as much. So let's try that. Yep, that looks good. All right, so we've got our 3 little flowers, and I'm going to run that through my cut and emboss machine and pop right back. So just lining it up again on my machine to make sure I've got it right. And because we kind of had it already worked out before I came over here, it's pretty easy to line up. And you just got to take, if you're going to run them through all at the same time, I mean, you could do them separate, but I guess I like the challenge of running them through all together, but you just have to take the time to make sure they're all lined up with the stamps. Okay, that's looking good. Okay, so I'm just going to put those down there. It may have shifted a tiny bit. Doesn't really matter if it shifts a tiny bit because I don't mind that little bit of a white edge around. Right, so then I've got my 3 dies. And what I want to do is stick those straight back in here because I don't want them to get lost. Now, let's find this right place. There we go. And this one's easy to identify by that single petal by itself. And this one's not too bad either for the same reason. Did I get it right? Yes, there we go. All right, so these, oh, and I need to do centers for the flowers. All right, so these are going to end up like in these spots like this. All right, so the centers of the flowers, let's look. The colors that I was inspired by, well, this one is actually quite dark. This one is almost black or might be navy actually. And then the middle of this one there's a little bit of yellowy in the middle of those raspberry ones, but I'm thinking, oh, is there pecan pie in this paper? Let's have a look, because I think it could be pecan pie, and I don't know that I want to put pecan pie in these, so I might just use poetic license. Yeah, pecan pie is one of the colors, because the colors in this are crushed curry, which is a dark gold, really. Darling duckling, which is a bit darker than daffodil delight. Fresh freesia, garden green, misty moonlight, old olive, peach pie, pecan pie, pool party, pretty in pink, and strawberry slush. Okay, so always, if you're wondering what colors, you can always turn to the backing sheet that comes with the paper, and the colors are always listed there. So I do want to add, now I could stamp them. You can see here, I can stamp those pieces in, or if I choose, I can use the flower centers that are actually supplied in the dies. Okay, so you can see there's like this flower center here, which is going to do that. And then I've got like this little guy here that like does all the dots in the middle of that flower center. So these are actually really nice. Now I'm just wondering what colors to go with. I'm thinking maybe, should I try the blackberry in the middle, or is that going to be too dark? That might be too dark. Although it is dark it's dark in these guys. Like I'm using these for inspiration. Okay, so you can see that they actually are quite dark in the center. So, which way will we go? I don't want to add yellow into this. I feel like that's not in keeping with the other colors. All right. Let's have a look. I've got my Misty Moonlight paper. I've got a piece here. And I could certainly darken that up with some navy, or I could just do it navy in the first place. And that might be easier and probably more striking. So let me grab some navy. I'm trying to grab a piece that's not too big out of my scrap drawer. Yeah, I think that'll be good. And I'm wondering if I should do, and this one on the paper it's black, but I don't really want to introduce black. Maybe I do navy again. And there is a tiny bit of gold in some of those. Well, that's another. Oh, I just had an idea. What if I did silver? What if I just went completely away from the blues and did silver? So that might look really nice. Let's try it. Let's do a flower center and see how that looks. Sometimes I've had people tell me in my videos that they actually like, because I never know completely what I'm doing before I start. I have an idea and then I kind of just let that idea run away with itself. And I've had people tell me that they actually really like seeing my thought process, because you do get my thought process, because I'm, you know, this is real. This is not me pretending to not know what I'm doing. I really don't know what I'm doing. So yeah, I think it's a good way to understand how a crafter might come up with ideas and how you feel about your work as you're doing it. And this wants to keep sliding around. I might have to use a Post-it note to keep it in place. And that is something that we do sometimes. So let me see. It wants to slide around on my silver. Now you can use Post-it notes, or you could use washi tape. That's another possibility, because they both have like a little bit of sticky here. If I put that there, it's going to hold that there so that I can put it through my cut and emboss machine and it holds it in place. So a Post-it note or washi tape, both will do the same job, because it wanted to slide when I was putting it through. Now this is the larger of the flower centers, so I would use this one definitely on the bigger one and possibly on the second size as well. So let's try it and see how it looks. Oh yeah, I think that's good. I rather like that. But do I want to use the same size on this one, or is that too big? I think that's too big. So we might go with the smaller one here for the other, but it's good on that big flower. Don't you think? All right, so let's put this back in, and I'm going to use the smaller one, and I'm going to use Post-it notes again to hold that in place so that it doesn't slide around. This makes it easier. So I'm putting that back down. And that one can run through as well. So I need 3. They're taking a little longer probably than I anticipated, so sorry that you happen to wait while I do this, but I know you guys are good talking amongst yourselves. So there's a second one, and then I've got one more to go, because if I want to use, the other thing you could do is you could use, you know, something like a gem, like maybe the Drucy dots or something like that, because those are quite good as flower centers. But the only thing is, if you want to have all 3 being a similar thing, I think the Drucy dots might be too small for the big flower, but it would work well on the 2 smaller flowers. So I know some of you, Susie in particular, are big fans of the Drucy dots. So okay. All right, so I've got my third piece of silver here, and let's quickly grab that die so I don't lose it and make sure it goes back into my pack. I'm being very careful at the moment about little tiny weedy dies going back into my pack, because they're so little, they're really easy to, like if I left this on my desk, it would get lost for sure. See how little that center bit is? Goodness. So I don't want to be losing them. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use dimensionals to stick these in the middle to make them look a bit fun. So I'm going to pop one normal size dimensional behind here. And we're going to pop that right there in the center. And then I'm going to get the mini dimensionals and pop them behind the two smaller ones. So I've got 1 and 2. Put one behind here. And that'll go in my blue flower, my Misty Moonlight flower. And then another one behind this one. So the mini dimensionals are the perfect size for the small ones, and the normal dimensionals fit great behind the big one. There we go. We've got our 3 flowers now. How cool are those looking? Look at them. Aren't they fun? They look rather good. All right. So looking at my sketch, let's come back and have a look here. All right. So I've got 1, 2, and 3. Now these aren't quite as big as the ones in the picture, but I'm still going to go with the same idea. And I might pop that way. And then, all right, so then I've also cut already for the long thin piece. I decided I really like this particular die. I don't know if you can see it. It's got stitching all the way around, and it's actually one of the dies from the Textured Notes. And I've been using this one quite a bit, getting a lot of use out of these. These are fantastic. Another online exclusive product, still available as we speak, or they were when I checked. Now, I shouldn't say that because you're watching on the 16th, and right now it is only the 30th of April, the day that I'm actually recording this. So I'm hoping this will still be available when you go looking for it. But if it's out of stock, then my apologies for that. But unfortunately, I have no way of knowing what is going to. So this is going to go, let me see. This is going to go from here. And then this one is going to be right about here. Like that. And then this little guy is going to go right about here. Okay, can you kind of see how this is coming together? Now, they've got a couple more little tiny somethings down the bottom. You could do anything here. You could have some more of these little tiny weenie flowers. Those would look good. Or we could even do some stamping. You know, we could do a couple of little stamps in there. But I really rather like, now, the thing that's not, because these are circles, there are no leaves associated with these, and I would like to add some. So let me start by I'm going to start by attaching this to the background. Just a bit of Tombow in the middle there. And I'm going to have that going right there. I'm just going to get stuck straight down. All right, so I'm just kind of trying to keep an eye on where all my bits and pieces are. Okay, that. Now this needs to be stamped on. And what shall we have on it? We have I Appreciate You. I wonder if that would fit in this or if it's too big for this. Let's find out. Let's see. So it says, where are we? I Appreciate You. Will it fit? It might be too high. Yeah, it's going to be too high. See that there? So I'm going to find a different greeting. We do have a So Very Much, and I could have thanks and then put the So Very Much on here, and that would be really nice. So let's see how that would look. Let me see. If I was to put So Very Much on here, where would the thanks go? Maybe the thanks would go over here. That would look good, actually. Let's do that. So I'm going to do this thing, the So Very Much on this, and let me pop that down. And I'm going to use whatever block you like, but I'm using this one now. This is G, and G is not available anymore. They actually don't sell this little tiny size block anymore. Normally I use H. H is this one. Hang on, was that H? Let me double check. Yeah, H is this one. So you can use that one, and that'll be fine as well. But because I still have some of these, I quite like this size. So all right, so that's going to end over here. So the thanks is going to be here. So I'm thinking I want the So Very Much on this end. And I'm thinking I might do this with Night of Navy ink because it's like one step up. What works still really nicely with the Misty Moonlight. So let me pop that on there. And I'm going to have that towards this left-hand side. I'm just going to straighten it up here on my mat because it just helps me stamp straight. Oh, and I didn't quite stamp straight. Well, that could have been better. I could have done that better. oh well. Really, ideally, what you should do, it's much easier, is stamp first and then cut. Okay, you'll get a better result nearly always, especially on a little tiny long skinny banner like this. And you know what, I'm actually going to cut that out again because I'm not happy with this, so I'm actually going to cut that very quickly. And I'm having it, like I said, towards the left hand side of my banner, and on the right hand side I'm going to have something else. So just, that's how I'm planning it. Let's see if it works. All right, that's better. Much better. See how that one I got straight because I did it after, and this one it's a little bit crooked, it goes down. And really I have no excuse. I mean, it's a clear stamp. I should have been more careful and I would have been able to see where I was going, but never mind. So I'll put that one aside and we'll use this one. And then I'm going to have that up on dimensionals. So let's pop a couple of dimensionals. Now you could use the big dimensionals. You'd have to be very careful how you put them down. You'd have to be very exact. Or you could use mini dimensionals, or this is one of the things I like to do. You can use the edge bits, okay? So let's snip a bit of that off. And snip, snip. And then I'm just going to pop that right there along and take the backing piece off. And now it's sticky. There we go. Perfect. Let's put that on so it faces the right way. Like that. Now this one is going to go, is it going to go behind? I think it is, and I can lift this up a little bit if I want to. Now because I put that piece all the way along under here, if I wanted my flower to go down further, I'd have to be a bit careful because it now won't go, because my dimensionals are in the way. But I don't mind it there. I think that looks okay. And then this one I want to have on top. All right, so that's kind of how I'm thinking I want it to go. So let's get some glue down behind here. If you wanted to pop that up on dimensionals, you could. Totally up to you. But I'm doing this one on dimensionals for mine. I'm going to actually have that going a little bit behind there. And then this one here, I'm going to put a dimensional behind here. And we'll sit that right next to here, but so it just goes over that edge a little bit. So it covers this gap here. All right. The other thing I thought about doing was maybe putting a couple of gems on the end here, like 3 little gems. That would look nice, but I'm actually going to scatter my gems around instead. So, but I'm liking it. It's liking the way that's looking. Okay, and then I want to have the thanks. All right, I'm going to do that because I'm going to have the thanks right about there. And it's not looking finished yet to me. I feel like we're still missing something. We still need to have a bit more of a play. Oh, now I find my C blocks. Now I found them. I found 2. But anyway, that'll be fine. It's not that big. And let's go with the navy again. And I'm going to line that up so it just goes along like the edge of the bottom of the words is fitting with the edge of the label. So now we have our thanks so very much. And like I said, it's still not done. Now there's a couple of things I think we could add. I think a ribbon down here would be really beautiful. Maybe the white, you know, the white sheer ribbon with the silver edge. That would look really, really good and would go beautifully with our silver flower centers. I do still like the idea of having a couple of leaves, but rather than stamping them, maybe I will stamp them and then cut them out. I think that might look really good. So I've got solid and the detail. I'm just going to use the detail. And I think for this, I think garden green will look good, so I'm going to try it. And if we decide it's not right, well then we aren't committed because we're doing this on, but I think it might be okay. And I'm going to pop that on here. And let me grab, where is it? Oh. Well, I'm not sure what I did with that scrap already. I just keep misplacing stuff at the moment. I think it's the story of my life, really. But anyway, so 1, 2. I think the light one looks better, don't you? All right, so we could get 4 out of that little piece. And then I've got my dies, of course, and I could also just die cut and then do the detail in the die cut if I didn't want to stamp. Okay, so there's a number of options, but I really like these lighter ones. I think those look better. Maybe I'll have a 1 or 2 dark ones, and then we'll go. Yeah, I think those are going to add to it. And oh, here's the white piece of paper. I found it. I'd left it on my cut and emboss machine. That's where it was. Of course, that's where it was. I'm having one of those weeks where I keep losing stuff. Now I had a list of all the things that I meant to do before I go away. Like it's everything from everything I need to achieve this week, as well as some packing things and some personal stuff I need to do before I go away and all the things. Do you think I can find the list? I have lost it, and I lost it earlier and couldn't find it, and then I found it again. And now I've lost it again. And it's been missing for a lot longer this time, and I'm really hoping that I didn't accidentally put it in an envelope that I mailed out earlier today. I might have to speak to the person who's receiving that and say, hey, I'm sorry, but if you find a funny piece of paper with all sorts of random things written on it, just ignore that. Anyway, I've rewritten the list. I just hope I haven't forgotten anything that was on the first list. All right. So I've done 2 of the lighter ones, and I should have used a post-it note again because I slightly moved it. But the nice thing about the leaves is you can just, if you missed a bit, you can just neaten those up. Easy to do, right? So if I want a leaf popping out here, which I think would look rather good, and the same with this one. I could have done 2 at a time, and never mind. I just realized that because there is multiple. There's the leaf I've got in my hand, but there's another one here. So you can cut more than one if you want to. Right. So if I had one going there, and then maybe, I don't know, let's see where we want them to be. Maybe one here, and then maybe one down here somewhere. Like if I have one maybe, what do you guys think? I feel like I want a couple more. I think we need more than. There we go. That's looking better. And we still have some little dots down the bottom here, and I could use bling for those, or I haven't decided what I want to do with those yet. I also have the darker leaves, and I'm wondering if those, maybe I use a couple of those. But the lighter ones appealed to me, but they're not standing out as much as I hoped. So I'm thinking maybe using maybe 1 or 2 of the darker ones might be good too. Okay. All right, let's see. What have we got? I'm thinking maybe this one should be a darker one. I think there should be a lighter one over here. I don't know. What do we think? I'm just playing at this point. I don't know. Now I'm not sure about them. I don't know that I love them as much as I hoped. I love the flowers. I think the flowers are great. I'm just not sure about the leaves. And I don't want 4. I think I need 3 at most. And then if we're going to have some bling, we've got to work out what bling we want to have. So do I want to use bling down here as my dots? Because I'm thinking I don't want any more flowers. I think that doesn't look right. And I still like the idea of the ribbon. So let's have a little play with that. So this is the silver edge ribbon that I think would be perfect with this. And let's see if we can tie a little bow, just a little one. Let's get this in the right spot. Now, some of you may have seen that I have a Zoom class at the end of this month. And if you would like to be part of the Zoom class, there's a couple of ways to be part of that. You'll need the Sunrise Sailing Bundle to make the cards in the class. If you purchase the Sunrise Sailing Bundle with me anytime during the month, then you automatically qualify. See, now that's really beautiful, having that ribbon there. I feel like that's a good choice. All right, let's make this a tiny, tiny little bow. I'm just going to pull these ends and make it smaller. Like that. I'm just going to pop that on a glue dot. So to use a glue dot, you just pop your ribbon or whatever you're putting on the glue dot, push it on or press it hard with your thumb, and then just pull it off by the loops, and it will sit beautifully and be attached to that glue dot. Now it's starting to come together. I'm happier with that. What do you think? I think the ribbon is actually pulling it together really nicely. So do I want another little leaf down here? I feel like maybe I do. All right. And do I want, yeah, okay. So let me pop those on glue dots too. Or you could just use Tombow or whatever you like for those. I'm just going to stick a glue dot on them because it's quick and easy. Like that. And this one. Like that. And this one. The ribbon makes all the difference on this card. I really like the ribbon. I'm actually going to push that in a little bit further. Okay. I'm liking that. I do feel like it needs some bling, and I'm thinking, what bling shall we use? We have got some clear dots. I've got purple gems, and we've also got silver adhesive back gems. So like the silver adhesive back gems, those would go great. Anything, silver and silver are going to go really good together. We've got the silver centers, the silver edge, and the ribbon. So these would look fabulous. And then maybe that's simple enough. I might think that those are, in fact, yep, I'm going to go with those. I could go with, you could add some purples or, other colors that we have, but I just think these silver ones are really nice for this. All right, so where do I want to put them? I'm going to put one down here, just like what's in the sketch, but instead of putting 2, I'm going to put the other 2. I'm going to do little guys. I'm going to put them up like to counterbalance that look. One above the thanks. and another one a little higher up, like that. And the whole thing needs to go on a basic white card base, which I pulled out before I started and went, oh yes, there's a basic white card base, and who knows what mountain of paper that is now under. Let's see if I can find it in this mountain of paper before I dumped everything on top of it. Story of my life. Aha, there it is. When I'm being creative, I just seem to not be able to craft in a tidy manner. I mean, what even is that? I don't know. I'm always envious of tidy crafters. I think they're very clever people. All right, I really like how this turned out. It's simple, but the colors and everything work really well. The silver is what I think brings it all together, and the ribbon looks really great. Here we go. All right, this is taking me a lot longer than it normally does, doesn't it? When I'm, like I'm already up to 51 minutes and I've only made one card. All right, let me finish telling you about my Zoom class. So the set that I'm using for my Zoom class is Sunrise Sailing. Some of you may have seen this. So it's a 3-part bundle. It is a stamp set, Sunrise Sailing. There it is. Let's move the scissors out of the way. And also a die set. Okay, so I've gone ahead and made 3 really, I think, really great projects with this set, and I hope you're gonna like them too. And this set is now available. Okay, it is an online exclusive. Once again, you'll need to go to the store to see more information, and they've also got some samples and other bits and pieces, and that's what's great about the online store. You can click on it, see what you want, you get all the details, the prices, all the stuff, but there's also extra samples made with the product so you can have a look and see how it might look. I love this. It's just beautiful. And I didn't get it on my first order. I saw a couple of people using it and went, oh, yeah, that's really nice. And it'd be great for masculine cards. The other thing is it's got a happy retirement in it, which I thought was really cool because we don't have very many of those. So there's a congratulations that you can use for anybody, not just people who are retiring. Happy retirement, best wishes. You deserve the best. You're destined for great things, and ahoy. And I just really like it. I think it's really fun. These are the dies that match. And you can see this big one here matches the sailing boat. It's actually bigger than what it's shown on the cover. Okay, so it's a bigger size. Then there's, some water that you can put your sailing boat on. There's even some birds you can die cut. And I love those. Some clouds and different sizes, 3 different size sailing boats and the matching sails for them. So that's really cool. And then this also matches this. Okay, so I'm not going to create another card with this tonight, but I just want to show you. So you would fit this in so that the cutting edge is facing up. Okay, put your paper in, close it, and then what you do, it cuts out the yacht, but also embosses it at the same time. Okay, so you get the yacht embossed with the billowing sails and the mast and all the bits and pieces, and it looks fantastic. I have actually, like I said, I've already made the cards for the Zoom. So, and you probably, if you want to go see those, they are on my VIP page for anyone who is part of that. And if not, I have posted them on my social media a couple of times now. Okay, so you can go and check those out. Just to show you how it looks when you emboss it, and so this is just embossed, not cut as well, just embossed. This is like just a landscape embossed piece with this, and how nice does it look just like that? I mean, it's not even, and then I could, if I wanted to, run this through and cut that boat out, and so that would actually cut that out. But the only thing is, if you put this through with the embossing folder, okay, then when it comes out, you have like all the embossing is really stands out really well. But if you emboss first and then cut it out, okay, then it flattens it down a little bit, and it's not, the embossing doesn't seem to be quite as deep when you do it that way. So I would always, if I wanted to emboss my die cut, I would actually do it in the embossing folder and cut at the same time, and you're going to get a better result. The other thing is that this is a 3D folder, so it does give you that lovely deep look, as you can see here. Look how nice that is. It's gorgeous. Really, really beautiful. So this is just on white, basic white paper. Okay, I haven't done anything special to it. It's just the way it is. I think it's really nice. So there you go. That's what I'm using for my Zoom class this month. If you don't have this set, you still have time to order it before the Zoom class and be part of the class. There are 3 ways to be part of the class. Actually, I need to put that back in with the dies, don't I? 3 ways to be part of the class. You can purchase the Sunrise Silent set from me, and you'll automatically be registered for the class, and I'll send you all the details. Now, I won't be sending the details until after I get back on the 21st. Okay, so after that, you'll be getting some more details about the Zoom class from me. There are 2 other ways. One is you can purchase the Zoom class for $15, and all the details about that will be on my blog. Okay, you can go and check that out. There's also a payment button there, so you can actually, use your credit card and sign up through that. The other way is if you're in my team, you also get to take part in the Zoom for free. Okay, so 3 ways to be part of it. Purchase it, as in purchase the bundle from me, and you'll automatically be able to get the class. You can purchase the class for $15 no matter where you are in the world or whether or not you shop with me. And if you're part of my team, you get it for free. Okay, so there you go. They're the 3 ways. And I hope that some of you will join me, because it's always a lot of fun. The Zoom classes, I'm really enjoying them because I get to see you. Normally when I do my lives, let me switch back to me now. Here we go. When I'm doing my lives, I can't see you. You can see me. It's not really fair. You can see me, but I can't see you. But when it's a Zoom, we all get to see each other. It's almost like being in the room together. And even though we're spread out around the world and people are everywhere, we actually get to converse and talk to each other face to face. So it's a really cool setup, and it's nice doing a class that way. And I try and move at a pace that means everyone can be, die cutting when instructed to, or coloring or stamping or whatever it is that you need to do. And that's why you do need to have the bundle, because you need to be able to do those things. So at the end of the class, you have 3 beautiful cards that you made yourself. The last one we did was the Thankful Garden bundle, and I got really great feedback on that one. I've had good feedback on all of them. I'm just trying to think, I think this is the 6th Zoom. I think so. I've been doing them because I'm only doing them every 2nd month, so it's been a while now that I've been doing these. So I hope that you will join me for that, and I hope that you liked my card today. I actually am really happy with it. Turned out really fun. Let's pull it back so you can see it in the light. So there you go. That's the card. I'll be posting this on social media, so you'll get to see it. I hope that you enjoyed it, and that maybe you are inspired to try this sketch and see what you can come up with. It doesn't have to be flowers. It could be anything, but circles are the way it's portrayed in the book. And I think that flowers also work really well. Okay, so see you all soon. I'll be back next week with you. I'm looking forward to next Tuesday when I'll be live again. And I will see you then. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.